offense. He was giving them the business.
Go back there. Hold on.
This is the Five Farms and a Lucky Finn podcast.
I hope that was not too loud because that probably been a little loud in my ear. But welcome, everybody, to the Five Arms and a Lucky Finn podcast. This is the Lucky Finn Inning Show. This is our college baseball show. We talk college football. We got a bunch of guys, mainly from Indiana. They got a Who's Your Homer show if y'all want to go ahead and watch that. Also, later on, don't leave now. But I'm here with my boy, Jason Ide. Jason, we've been kind of wanting to do this for a while, and we're ready to keep rolling. So how are we feeling?
It's here. I'm feeling good, Drank some caffeine later in the day so I can have my adrenaline ready for this. So I'm ready to get rocking and rolling.
That's needed. But man, look, this is really exciting because I think the cool thing when we were setting all this up is, man, this is not easy. Those dudes, you're setting up the regional, and we talked about when the LSU happened to go to Oregon a couple years ago. I mean, man, it probably made sense when you're running out of teams to put places. You got to shove somebody somewhere. So It's going to make sense here. But, man, Jason, I guess we could just jump into it. Put our names up so people don't get lost of who is who and who's not. But Jason, you want to take us away really quick while I set all this up?
I'll just play off of what you were saying. We struggled with putting some of these teams in places. You don't want to send anybody too far across the country, but sometimes when we have as many West Coast teams hosting as we do this year, sometimes somebody's going to get the short end of the stick, and it's like, you're gonna make somebody mad no matter what happens, because somebody's got to do it and somebody's got to bite the bullet. So, well,
especially when you want to keep the regional word in there. You don't want to be like, conference, when you got the conference regional where you got California going all the way to Maryland. No, you don't want that regional. But Jason, let's go ahead and jump into this. We're going to start with our regional host. First, of course, we got UCLA. I feel like that's a no-brainer, followed by Georgia Tech, Texas, North Carolina, and Georgia. We'll start off at 5 for right now. Jason, I don't think you and I had any differences on these. Either one can flip-flop, but again, this is projected. It will be after conference play.
Yeah, so the reason Georgia Tech jumps up to 2 and you see North Carolina drops down to 4 is we have all 3 conference winners, Big Ten, ACC, and SEC, being back-to-back-to-back. All of them are strong teams. If they're really RPI 1, 2, and 3, so it makes sense to fit them right there at 1, 2, and 3. And then Georgia stays behind North Carolina because North Carolina we're expecting to get to the championship, probably lose to Georgia Tech is what we're projecting.
Yeah. Oh, let me pick the slideshow. I got to do different ways. Followed by Auburn, Kansas, and A&M. We've been talking hot about Kansas, and Kansas definitely deserves to be up there. I don't doubt they could be, I don't think below 10 in my opinion, but
yep. And then Kansas we're projecting as the Big 12 winner, which helps their stock as well because the Big 12 is a stronger conference this year. You'll see that by the amount of teams that make the tournament this season. Also, RPI number 4 in the country for Auburn, number 1 in strength of schedule, so that's why you'll see them fit in there at 6 at 33 and 14. Kansas RPI 15. They're just a strong team, and A&M as well, a strong team. RPI number 11, and also has a 2-game sweep over Texas, and where they didn't get to game 3 due to weather. I think it's important to note, Kenny, this would be if all of these teams make it to supers and win their regionals. This is where our super regionals will all be hosted. Any thoughts about that? Do we like that?
I think everybody's excited for a Kansas Super Regional. I think that's if you look at all of these teams up here, UCLA, and I'll go ahead and hit the others and while we talk. Kansas is not, Coastal We'll go 10 Mississippi State, 11 Southern Miss, Florida. We'll talk about Florida. Florida is everyone's talking about that, and if they do deserve or they don't deserve. Oregon, Florida State, Oregon State, and Arizona State. So the state's going to end all of that. Let's talk about Oregon State. Let's get this off of the bat really quick. You and I feel like everybody else is talking about Oregon State. Just you can't be in a top 10 with, unfortunately, the schedule they play. Yes, you're kind of hurt by not being in the conference, of course, and then having to play all those West Coast, Big West teams. But you've also struggled against some of these teams too. I mean, you struggled against Portland, and then I believe they didn't do well against Gonzaga last week.
Fullerton.
Fullerton. Okay.
Fullerton was a few weeks ago. I'm not sure what it was last week.
Thoughts on Oregon State? And I think when we first started this, didn't we? We had them up at 7 or 8.
We did have them higher. I believe last week when I adjusted all of this for this week, we had them at number 8 previously. Then they kind of had a roughish week last week. Mm-hmm. They lost to UTRGV, which is Texas Rio Grande Valley, if anybody's not familiar, as well as they lost one of their games to which one is this? Which Cal team is this? It is Northridge. Okay.
Or UNC.
And so, I mean, they still won the series, but
yeah,
I would just say Oregon State's really tough to judge, just being an independent, like you said.
Yeah.
Still strong RPI at 14. I think they're pretty set.
I think that's what's helping them, though, is that RPI that's what's helping them.
And
they do have I don't want the RPI to be the big talking point here. I think the RPI is definitely going to be flipped up next year too, because teams canceling these games. So
yeah, something's got to change there. I think the other thing that stands out here, and people will probably question, is why is Florida at 12? Whenever we were making this, we actually didn't have Florida that high. We had them around 14, 15, but it's so difficult to stick them in that group, because you have to remember this season we have pods where 17 through 20 is going to go play at 13 through 16. And they have to go to one of those spots. And so when we were doing this, with so many SEC teams right on the outside looking in on the regionals, you kind of have to move Florida up a little bit, kind of keep them out of that pod with those teams. And that's why we slotted them in there at 12. And then I think the other thing a lot of people will be questioning is, why do we have Arizona State at 16? We see Arizona State as a strong team in the Big 12. They're getting really hot right now. We see them keeping on their trajectory of moving up. Their RPI is a little lower at 40, but they're getting hot, and as well, we expect them to perform well in the Big 12 tournament, and that'll help their stock as well.
And even in our defense, I mean, we kept going back and forth between who would even be the 14, 15, and 16, regardless. And for the Florida situation, we look at, I mean, they've got, LSU and Kentucky are the end of their schedule. I mean, those are beatable teams. Kentucky's a sweep. Is a potential sweep. I don't know about LSU. LSU's getting hot, but that's, end of the year. And, and I kept arguing with you. I didn't think about having Florida. I didn't want Florida hosting, because I don't think they've fully deserved it. But I think as it goes on,
and they're tough too, because it's like if they're not hosting, where do you send them? And so, and also we're projecting this out based off of what we think how things are gonna go down the stretch, right? So this isn't just like, hey, this is right now Florida's sitting at 12. Why do you have that? I mean, we're also thinking down the road, Florida could have a good next couple of weeks, could perform well at the SEC tournament. SEC is just so strong, and when you've won so many national championships back-to-back years, it's hard to not give the benefit of the doubt there for the conference.
Yeah, we're LSU people. The SEC bias is somewhat there, but we try not to get into that. But let's see if we got any SEC bias in our bubble teams. Hold on, we got a situation.
Yeah,
all right,
no worries.
Come on.
I'll go ahead and take it away.
Yeah,
So
go ahead.
we have 8 teams here on the bubble. You're going to see 4 of these be our last 4 in, 4 of these be our first 4 out. And when we look at each of these teams, Michigan, 5th in the Big Ten, hoping to make their postseason for the first time since 2022. Then you have TCU, 7th in the Big 12 right now. Their RPI is 51. They were at Corvallis last season in regional, and their last College World Series appearance was in 2023. Louisiana Lafayette, Sun Belt, RPI 54. They're currently 6th in the conference, Kenny, but that's not really a good reflection of their team performance. The Sun Belt is a really strong conference. I think a sneaky strong conference for what people give it credit for. They're looking to make their last regional was in 2024. Then you have Pitt, 10th in the ACC, RPI at 46. Their last appearance, Kenny, was in 1995. So Pittsburgh's looking to get back for the first time in over 30 years.
God.
Yep. So what do you think of those 4?
God.
Yeah.
Other bubble teams, UAB, Miami of Ohio, Virginia Tech, in East Carolina. Those are pretty good matchups there. Miami was kind of that. I think it's funny to have Miami and Michigan up here because Michigan scheduled Miami for that RPI game and lost it. So,
yeah.
Look, we've seen a lot of people even just blatantly have Michigan in. Michigan is probably they're on the edge of the bubble team. East Carolina, I feel like they've got a lot more potential. I don't know if they've got just one of those young teams, but that's my take on those.
The other thing about Virginia Tech there, they may have 21 losses, but it's also important to note Virginia Tech's 6th strength of schedule in the country.
Mm-hmm.
So, their last appearance was in 2022. So ACC is just a strong conference, so it would also be hard to leave them out.
All right. Well, Jason, I've already hit the button, but
Let's do it.
I didn't reveal much, but here we go. We got our regional matchups. Los Angeles Regional, of course, is UCLA. Will match up with the Tempe Regional. The College Station Regional will match up with the Conway Regional. We'll start off at the regional in Los Angeles. We got UC Santa Barbara, Virginia Tech. So check the list off of the bubble. Bubble is already occupied. And Rider. So let's start with Rider. Rider unfortunately got, as we were talking about earlier, they got we need somebody to go over there kind of situation. Yeah. But the UC Santa Barbara and will take the number 2 seed. That's I think another one we kind of went back and forth on.
Yeah, it's important to note we don't have UC Santa Barbara as the current winner of the Big West. We think that conference is pretty strong. Not that they can't win that conference, but we do think that there's a good chance one of those other teams will win it, either Fullerton, Cal Poly, or even UC San Diego. They've all been really strong in the conference play. And so that could also be a team that sneaks in and steals a bid because UC Santa Barbara is going to be in as an at-large regardless. And so you're looking at a bubble team, you're thinking you really want UC Santa Barbara to win the Big West.
Yeah, that whole West Coast is, even that conference itself, it's so up and down. I would honestly just say even. It's very even to a point where it really could be anybody, and I think UC Santa Barbara can take that cake because they have fought against, I believe, USC and I say Oregon, and they've played pretty well. But do you see any upsets in this region?
I'm going to be interested to see that UC Santa Barbara Virginia Tech game just because ACC versus Big West were kind of two different styles of play, West Coast versus East Coast. So that'll be interesting, but I don't think anybody's going to make it out of this but UCLA.
All right. Tempe Regional, Arkansas, UTSA, and Southeastern. Another issue of they got to go somewhere. I love this regional. This was kind of one of my favorite regionals that we kind of set up. We didn't do UTSA to any of the Texas schools because they went to Austin last year. So that was, I think, my thing with this is we did put UTSA in another region, but I said they already went to Texas, so I kind of don't want to see something close happen again. That was my take on it.
Plus, UTSA is probably one of the closer teams to Arizona as far as who's left in that bubble of those 3 seeds.
Pretty much.
And so for us, I actually believe we had them somewhere else and we switched it over to Tempe. So, but I'm with you. I love this regional. Arkansas is right there on the cusp of wanting to host themselves. So if they get left out and get that 17, they get that draw, they're going to be angry going to Tempe. And this is going to be fun because you're talking about an Arizona State team that's really powered by their offense versus an Arkansas team that's a little more balanced, more pitching focused. So who would you have coming out of this if this was the regional?
I'm going to go with Arizona State. I say Arkansas gets bounced early. I say Arkansas gets bounced early. Yes, I say Arkansas. God. Maybe, they do a typical maybe Arkansas thing where I don't want to talk about last year. That's probably the saddest play I've ever seen. And I'm not going to dig into Arkansas about that play because it left me speechless. But give me Southeastern and Arizona State to be kind of that final 2 game. I'll go with the Louisiana guys.
I also agree. I also like that. So notice here we have the UTSA winning the American and Southeastern winning the Southland here. Southeastern is not a bad team. They are a strong team. They have played well all year. They have a lot of guys who can hit a lot of home runs. Their slugging percentage is really strong.
Yep.
Very offensive powered. And they just had a really good series against number 2 in the conference, Lamar. And so they're playing really well right now. So I look forward to they're gonna, I think, based off of Arizona State's offense and Southeastern's offenses, that first game between those two could be a very, very back and forth game offensively.
All right, I accidentally hit the button already, but let's jump to the College Station regional. A little old fashioned Big Ten. Were they both? No. They were both in the Big Ten. No, they weren't. I don't know why this.
They were both in the Big 12 at one point.
Okay, that's why it feels so.
Yeah, it's always strange.
Nebraska heading to College Station, USL heading to College Station, and Army will head to College Station. We were between Army and Tarleton heading to A&M. I think this will be a pretty. I believe A&M will kind of run over this regional. I think Nebraska could be a small fight for them. I'm not sure about Louisiana. I mean, I called them Louisiana. USL, I'm never going to call them Louisiana, but what's your thoughts on it?
Well, Louisiana next bubble team off, so it leaves only 2 spots left from the bubble teams. So some people are probably going to be pretty frustrated with who we have, but notice we still have a few weeks left, so nothing is set in stone. And then the other thing that's fun here is Army going to A&M being a very military school as well.
That's and so
having Army going right there to A&M would be a really fun matchup. And I'm with you. Nebraska could give A&M a run for their money, but I do think A&M's just so all around phenomenal as a team that I don't see anybody else coming out of this regional either.
Yeah. That's all I got on this region. I think it should be a fun one if it happens. And I don't know. I had Navy there, but since Army kind of took care of Navy again, don't see that happening. But Conway, Coastal Carolina, Boston College, Kentucky, and Binghamton. Thoughts on this, Jason? I'll let you go first here.
Yep, Binghamton will be the winners of the American East here. They'll go play in Coastal Carolina first. And then, I forgot my asterisk on Coastal Carolina. We do have Coastal Carolina slotted as the Sun Belt winner. And then we also have Boston College going there in Kentucky. This is a tough regional, Kenny. I mean, you're talking about a Kentucky team that's very hit or miss, strong SEC. It's always hard to read. Those 3-seed SEC teams can either go 0-2 or they can go win the regional. We've seen it both ways.
Right.
And so I think we were talking about this. If this is the regional, Boston College is going to throw their lefty first game. I think they would probably beat Kentucky, and then they'd be giving Coastal a run for their money, I think.
Yeah. I mean, Coastal's is going to be a hard fight for Coastal. I think they took a loss against Clemson this week, and we're kind of back and forth the other couple of weeks ago, but I think should be a good. Now let's do a quick matchup between these. For Super, I guess who would you have coming out of the Super?
I think this would be a UCLA, because I just don't know how you can even pick against that team. They're just unanimously the strongest team in the league this year. Mm-hmm. And then the other one, I got A&M coming out of it. And then you're looking at A&M versus UCLA in that first round of the World Series. What about you?
Yeah, I can't argue that one. I think A&M's pretty strong. I don't think Coastal's got that team that they did last year, but who knows? Next regionals: Atlanta, Corvallis, Lawrence, and Starkville. I'm gonna go ahead and place them all out there for us to just kind of look over. South Carolina, USC will go to Corvallis, Virginia to Lawrence, and Jacksonville will head to Starkville. So those are our 2 seeds. Biggest surprise, any of the ones that we're kind of a little upset that we were hoping, and I was hoping for Missouri to have a 2 seed, but they've kind of fell off. And I think that the 3rd seed is where they belong. Tennessee's kind of a weird team. I feel like that will make Atlanta's Georgia Tech's regional tough.
I agree. I think that Atlanta regionals, it just is like the Kentucky one, right? You put an SEC school in there as a 3 seed. You already have a tough 2 seed as well in Central Florida. But both of these teams have been super inconsistent, and Georgia Tech has been one of the most consistent teams in the country as far as both offense and pitching. Pitching has been a little struggle recently. Their starting pitching hasn't really made it as many innings the last couple of weeks. Last weekend they played Xavier, so it's a hard say on that. But even then, they're going to have to pick things up a little bit, because Central Florida and Tennessee both can get hot at the right time and give Georgia Tech pitching staffs a struggle. But Georgia Tech's offense is so strong, I don't see any other team coming out of this regional.
Yeah, the only other regional I see here that's probably we kind of gave Oregon State a little sword to the stomach. USC, Oral Roberts, San Diego State. San Diego State's not a bad team. I know they're at that 4 seed. Again, they play all those West Coast teams, and they're all probably about even. So it would be a good test.
A battle of the former Pac-12s.
Yeah.
And so that would be really fun. It's USC was one of those teams that's harder to slot, because you only have really a couple options if you want to keep them on the West Coast. And it just so happened for us, we like them going to Oregon State. And I think that would be a good test for Oregon State as well. Oregon State, we talk about, hasn't had the strongest schedule as far as, teams, just because they're independent this year. And it's also harder. I mean, to no fault of their own, right? Oregon State is a team that has been really strong in the past. They're a really good team. It's also just hard. I feel I can't imagine trying to schedule a season out when you're not in a conference. So, but this would be a true test for them, getting USC in there. Kenny, is this, based off of this, if this is how this went, if you're USC and you're getting Oral Roberts first, which is probably one of the weakest 3 seeds we have in this tournament, are you throwing Mason Edwards against Oral Roberts, or are you saving him for Oregon State?
I say you save it for Oregon State, because I think you want to get into Oregon State deep. You really want to dig deep into them, because again, I just don't think we know the true Oregon State yet, because it's just they haven't with it. Nobody they've really played that we can. I don't give a crap about their RPI wherever that is. It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell. I would save them. I would save them.
Gotcha.
Because again, they got a bunch of other dudes who can come in. They're an incredible pitching staff.
Yeah. And maybe that would be the reason they say, hey, I don't take any chances and I'm throwing him first game. And if I'm not mistaken, when Paul Skeens was at LSU, I mean, he threw the first game. So it'll be interesting to see.
I'm looking this up. I believe, San Diego State will be a Pac-12 team next year along with Oregon State. So this will be a –
Wait, the Pac-12 is –
It's coming back. I don't know if it's just for football, though. I don't want to get off topic, but
it's not just for football because Gonzaga is going to be there for basketball.
Yeah.
So
it says okay. So I guess we gave them a free matchup,
and then we're also going to see Gonzaga in the Pac-12 too. That makes for some fun baseball next year.
Oh yeah. All right. Yeah. Well, we Starkville Regional, Lawrence Regional. Kansas definitely deserves a host. And I think that Virginia matchup will probably be the end of that regional. Should I would say Virginia comes out of that?
They could. They could.
I feel like there's some weird magic in
they're just so inconsistent. They're so tough to judge.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's why, that sweep against Pitt hurt them, really kind of pushed them back a little bit. But don't forget about our friends from the Ohio Valley, Eastern Illinois, with a sweep over Southeast Missouri State this past weekend. They're a team that is going to be a team to not play with. So them going to this regional would be really fun. It's not far, but Kansas is such a strong team. And I know that we're over here and we're talking about all the teams and we're like, hey, it's so easy to just pick the number one national seed in each regional for the winner. But I think this could be a tough regional as far as pitching versus offense. We've seen Eastern Illinois. We've talked about them. They're a very disciplined team. If you're trying to just strike them out every time, you're not going to do it. They are going to make you work on the mound. They're going to make you, they're going to get their share of walks and they're going to get their share of hits. It's a matter of if their pitching staff is strong, and if they pitch like they did this past weekend, they could give Kansas fits on the mound, and that could make Kansas have to use more pitching than they want to in that game one. And so that'll be an interesting matchup. But Kansas makes sense to come out of this regional.
Over to Starkville, I will say Mississippi State will come out of that, but I feel like they're going to have to really fight Jacksonville State on it. Jacksonville State, they put a big hurt on Missouri State, and I'll take that as probably one of their, they did a good fight. I feel like why am I want to say they beat Florida? They had some upsets this year.
They've played very well.
And Missouri State hasn't been hitting well, so I definitely will. I think Missouri State gets bounced out quickly in that regional. Jason, you want to take us off to the Austin, Tallahassee, Auburn, and Hattiesburg regional?
Sure. Let you get some water. First, we'll start off with the Austin regional. We got Texas as the winners of the SEC. Then we have Oklahoma State as the 2 seed going to Texas. Another battle of former Big 12 team members, so that'll be cool. Then we got Kent State as winners of the MACtion. And then Tarleton State, where we were talking about Tarleton not going to College Station. It makes sense then to put them in Austin as winners of the WAC. The WAC is also another one that can go either way. A couple teams in there fighting, but Tarleton has beaten both 2 and 3, 2 out of 3. So we give them the slot here. Kenny, this is a regional where I'd almost say, is your 3 seed stronger than the 2 seed?
I think it would be a lot more distance than you and I probably think. I think, and the only reason why is you and I probably haven't paid much attention to Oklahoma State. Paid a little bit more attention to Kent State, but It's just because Oklahoma State is not the Oklahoma State that they used to be, and it's just. But that's a great question. I think it'll be a great question. But
I think if they played each other, that it would be answered in game one.
Yep.
So, but Texas is such a strong team as far as their starting pitching goes. All three starters on the weekend are strong. Their bullpen is strong. We've seen them close out games without even giving up hits in the last couple of innings, get a lot of strikeouts. It's going to be tough for anybody to go to Austin and not only beat that crowd, but beat the team.
Mm-hmm. Now, this Tallahassee regional looks a little tough to me. Florida State, Bama, East Carolina, and North Florida. I think North Florida will have some issues, of course. East Carolina's been up and down, so who knows how they'll come out. And same thing with Alabama. I believe they lost a series to Kentucky. Or was that Arkansas that lost the series to Kentucky?
Actually, I think they may have lost to both Arkansas and Kentucky. Let me go pull it up real quick.
Oh no, yeah, they definitely got swept by Arkansas. Like it wasn't a great one. So
they got swept by Kentucky too.
Okay.
Yeah, swept at home against Arkansas, swept on the road at Kentucky, and then lost 2 out of 3 to Texas and Tennessee.
Okay. Yeah, so, Florida State, I think, comes out of that pretty easily. Okay.
I kind of disagree. I think this is an Alabama team that has played really well against good competition. I know we just talked about their losses, but let's also not forget they've swept Florida and they swept Auburn. And they most recently swept Vanderbilt. Not a strong team, but still SEC. I think this could be a regional where Florida State's going to be a little nervous with Alabama coming to town. This is an Alabama team that can get really hot. They've been playing well as of late. Like I said, that sweep against Vanderbilt. But also East Carolina and North Florida. I don't expect North Florida to give too much trouble out of the ASUN, but East Carolina, I mean, that could be a team to watch as well. But I can see Alabama winning this game and then Alabama beating Florida State in the 1-0 game. And then kind of Florida State's going to be on the ropes. And I don't know, Kenny, Florida State has been hurt lately because they got that sweep on the road at Stanford. But it would help them being at home here. But I still think Alabama's a strong team. They can give them a run for their money.
Yeah, we talked about that loss to Stanford, and we kind of said that was just one of those your way out there, and they bounced back pretty well over the weekend. Speaking of bouncing back, I'll say Wake Forest has bounced back enough to give them a 2 seed in the Auburn Regional, and then Ole Miss will head to the Hattiesburg Regional. This Hattiesburg Regional we cooked up, man, that's some fresh entertainment. Mercer, I'm glad to see Mercer. Go Bears. Definitely deserve to be in the Auburn Regional. I think we had the choice to send them to the Georgia's regional as well, but we decided not to. And St. Joseph's was another team that we were trying to figure out where to go. And we've seen St. Joseph's in other regional brackets being sent all the way across the country. So
we're going to keep them a little closer.
Yeah, I think it's fair.
A couple things stand out here, Kenny. Mercer is one of the hottest teams in the country as far as hitting home runs. Them playing up against Wake Forest's pitching lab. I could see Mercer winning that game against Wake Forest and then playing Auburn. Auburn's got a good pitching staff too, so it would be interesting to see Mercer's bats against both of these two teams that are kind of pitching driven.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I think Mercer has a great chance against Wake Forest. Why I was really excited about this because Auburn's pitching staff versus Wake Forest's pitching lab staff, and just to see maybe I know Wake Forest when I haven't checked the pitching stats in a while, but they were up there with LSU when it comes to pitching stats, and LSU's pitching stats are not great. Yeah, the strikeouts and then the walks, and so Wake Forest, if they come out like that, I don't think they'll have a great time. I think they'll be battling for that elimination game after to play to play Auburn.
Wake Forest is third in strikeouts. LSU's number 1, Oregon State number 2, but Wake Forest is highest in K per 9. So in the whole country, so
I know
it's
they got
definitely
the
a strong
ball
team.
situation is normally what I was looking at, because I remember LSU's was like astronomical, and like right below them was Wake Forest. But this Hattiesburg Regional, North Carolina State was definitely one of those teams early in the year where people thought they could possibly be a 2 seed, and they just kind of fell off to a point where a lot of people stopped paying attention to them. Ole Miss was a possible regional host at one point. Maybe could be in the future, depending on how things roll. I mean, things are weird. Thoughts on the Hattiesburg region?
NC State is in that same kind of bubble as Clemson is, where both of them were top 25 teams early in the season. Everybody thought they were definitely gonna be fighting for either a regional or a 2 seed, and for them to kind of slip out but still sneak in here says a lot about. What kind of NC State team is gonna show up?
Yeah,
and
right.
But I'm with you. Ole Miss and Southern Miss playing against each other, if they are in the same regional, that is going to be so fun, especially because I'm with you. Ole Miss is still a strong team. We saw them play Georgia really well. They had a really tough loss this past weekend in that walk-off against Arkansas, but still played really well on the road, have been playing really well all season. They're one of the strongest strength of schedules as well in the country, so that kind of helps them a bit. And you might see 22 and think, well, that's a little low for Ole Miss. I think for right now it makes sense. Yeah. But I'm with you that depending on how the next couple weeks go and how they perform in Hoover, they could move up. And I think it's going to be hard for them to host a regional. But I don't know. Who knows? They could sneak in there. But I would love to see them go to Hattiesburg.
Yeah, they are 12-12 SEC. I'm wondering who Ole Miss has left, because this is going to depend. That's why we looked at Florida at one point.
Let me check.
Okay, so I got it up already.
Okay, cool.
So they got A&M, and then they're at Alabama. So,
ooh,
little tough right there.
But it could help them.
It could
help them.
It could. And that's why I don't want to talk about. That's why I think RPI kind of is not that big of a. Because a lot of teams that's why they're canceling games, because even if they win or lose, they're still going to be down on it. So,
yeah, I think the other thing to note here is you notice a lot of people talked about Alabama, being a host as well, and we just don't see that right now. But they're another team. Them and Ole Miss both. Arkansas, all 3 strong SEC teams. All 3 have strong schedules remaining, so anything can happen.
Yeah.
Oh, Kenny, the other thing to note that we had on there, East Carolina, another bubble team coming off the list.
Oh, yeah.
1 spot's left.
We got to do we have a check marks now? I wish it did. Regional matchups for here, we got Chapel Hill, Eugene, Georgia, and Florida. If they come out, well, all these teams come out, you talk about, this is crazy. Just to have these in supers, you don't want to. I was thinking about this in the other one with, Texas, and it's like, I don't want to lose any of those teams. So, possibility. Chapel Hill, Cincinnati, High Point, St. John's, Eugene. We have Oklahoma, Gonzaga, Cal Poly. Big takeaways here.
There's our Big West winner. That's who we're projecting
right
now. We got Cal Poly. And going to Oregon would be really fun. That's a strong. We like the Big West. We've been following them a lot. They're strong. We believe they're pretty, like Kenny said, a balanced conference. So we do see like Cal Poly there. Gonzaga's another team, Kenny, where originally I think they were fighting for a 2 seed after they went on like a double-digit win streak. Kind of had a rough weekend this past weekend. Kind of drops them back down to a 3 seed, but I still think they're a strong team. We have them as winners of the WCC. But then Oklahoma is another one of those teams that gets the shorter end of the stick and has to go West Coast. What do you think about that?
I've been a Oklahoma doubter this entire year. I did not, and I know when they played LSU, that was way early in the year. the way they looked against LSU was just not. I mean, at one point they were a regional hosting team. Probably some still think they deserve to be hosting. Absolutely not. You didn't play against LSU. You got some. Let's see. They
Got
lost the
swept
series
at Texas.
to Alabama. Swept at Texas.
They did take 2 out of 3 against A&M, but that was like first SEC weekend of the year. And then they most recently lost their series to Florida and Auburn in the last 2 weeks. So they
got Arkansas coming up, and they're at Tennessee. So they're at Arkansas, at Tennessee. So I feel like this is a pretty good place for them to be as a 2 seed.
Yeah, I agree. And then North Carolina. People may look at this, Kenny, and we were talking about this the other day. If you don't watch as much baseball as some people do, you may look at this and say, well, that's a weak regional. But we both know Cincinnati has one of the best power hitters in the country in home runs. High Point between High Point and Winthrop, whichever one of those teams makes it out of their conference. They're both really strong, and we've seen them both win midweek games against top tier teams. So that's a team that could make a run for their money. And then we have St. John's as the winners of the Big East. I know Creighton just got a big win over Kansas, but St. John's and Creighton just recently played over the weekend. St. John's takes 2 out of 3, so that's why they slip in there. Do you think anybody could battle North Carolina in this regional?
If it's going to be anybody that will put up a legit fight, it's going to be Cincinnati and High Point. High Point might be. I have a lot of faith in High Point. I'll say that. I mean, every time we look at the schedule and any of these teams that we're looking up, or you'll see High Point on their schedule. High Point, I took a series from Florida. They've taken the series from Florida. Yeah, that's Florida. And every time I look at them, they're playing some of these top teams. Now, they've lost. They have played North Carolina already before, and I think you and I kind of went back and forth because I wanted to avoid them having to play other people that they've already played before. But, again, you get to a point where you can't. Oh, they play Winthrop this week, High Point.
Oh, I'm putting that on our list. It's going to be on our list of meaningful mid-majors to watch. We're gonna make a pick.
But man, we'll keep going. These two are my favorite. I think these two are going to be a great high visual regional. Campbell, Liberty, Bethune-Cookman at Athens, Gainesville. I don't want them having a goddamn regional. West Virginia, Miami, and Wright State. We love Campbell. We are big on Campbell. Bethune-Cookman, I think that's a great team. They got that starting pitcher. He's really good for them.
That whole regional is sneaky good. And honestly, Georgia, we talked about this before. Georgia's strength of schedule is slightly a little lower than some of the other SEC teams, but they've had so many quality wins. That's what keeps them up there at the top. So this would be a true test for them. Liberty, Campbell, Bethune-Cookman, none of those teams are going to be pushovers. They're all three going to. We've seen them all three battle in big moments and play against some big teams. I mean, Campbell gave North Carolina a run for their money in the midweek, and North Carolina used a lot of pitchers in that game. They wanted to win that game. That wasn't just we're giving it to them. And so Campbell played really well. Bethune-Cookman, we've seen beat LSU. We've seen them beat Florida, I believe. I mean, we've seen them play really well in the midweek. So I would think. You had a segment about it a couple weeks ago where we talked about the SWAC and how they're so dangerous. Whoever makes it out of there is just going to be dangerous. And if Bethune-Cookman makes it out, which we do believe, they're going to mess with Georgia in that game one. I think Georgia wins, but they're going to mess with them a little bit.
I'm wondering if they bank on winning the first game and they save that starter to go against Georgia. But they got to play. They
play Georgia game one. They'll play Georgia game one.
What am I thinking? Why am I thinking? Okay.
Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah.
They'll definitely.
Sounds
He'll
so dumb
definitely
right
be.
now. We probably lost 8 viewers because I said that.
Everybody's just like, I'm out of here. This dude doesn't even know who's playing each other.
God, like, I'm looking at him visually. I'm thinking Campbell. Anyway, did we give Florida too easy of a regional?
I don't think so, because I still think West Virginia is actually a really strong team, and we before anybody gets on to us, we actually were debating West Virginia being a regional host as well. The only reason we didn't end up with them as a regional host, even though we did originally, is because we imagine the Big 12's probably only going to get 2 hosts depending on how things go down the stretch, and we just think Arizona State's so hot they're going to be the one that slip in and stay up in the 16. That could be very well be West Virginia in that spot, Kenny, and that could be them hosting a regional. So I think West Virginia is a strong team, not a strong power hitting team. They're not going to be hitting for a lot of home runs, probably closer to the bottom in the conference in home runs. But they can give Florida fits. They got a good pitching staff.
And look, like I've seen Florida fans say, Florida fans probably have no idea what Florida's going to show up as. They either show up as a power hitting 6, 7, 5 home runs a game team, or batting 200 a game. Like, they can't figure it out. Besides, again, Aiden King, we talk about him. Who are they after him, and depending on how they show up. So I think Wright State's a good.
Okay,
Sorry,
so
go ahead.
That could bring that just brings up another thought. Is Aiden King another one of those possible you save him for game 2 pitchers?
I think you got to, because you have to rely on your bullpen coming through to start, because we've seen it time and time again where some of these teams, they get their first guy gets out so quick, and it's probably done after that, because after their first guy, they really don't have a guy who can actually come in consistently. I'll say consistently, who can come in and not walk the bases loaded, or have your coach take 4,000 steps like Jay Johnson does every day to the mound. You can't have a guy who's going to do that. So I think Florida's going to have to save him and probably go with their Saturday starter for a first game.
I agree. I think they could probably look at this first matchup as an opportunity for their offense just to lead them to victory, and it doesn't matter about what pitching happens. But I think you want to save as many arms as you can, because whoever pitches that game, done for the weekend. If Aiden King pitches next day, he's done for the weekend. So they're going to have. We've talked about it so many times about how midweek pitching sometimes can make the difference down the stretch when we get to postseason. Okay, this is a perfect opportunity. Hey, if you're going to throw your best pitcher in game 2, you better win that game. You better win game 1 too, because otherwise you're going to have a tough time down the stretch. But their offense is going to have to be the reason they win this series down the stretch in those games, either getting to 3-0 or winning a winner-take-all game.
I'm wondering, this will be my last thing, and we'll move on. I'm wondering if Miami might be a sleeper. Might be a sleeper team. They got a good hitting team. I just don't know much about Miami. I feel like Miami's kind of that team people have ignored this year, and we'll see. We'll see.
And then I think when you think about I'll
go back.
Think about these regional matchups for the Supers. So let's see, Georgia, Florida. This could be our first. This could be our only opportunity of an SEC All SEC Super Regional this season. We've seen it happen multiple times in the past. It's always a fun time.
Happened last year.
Yep, and these are two big rivals. So having these regionals matched up with each other makes it really fun if both of them end up making it out of it.
I'm looking up. I feel So Miami went to Hattiesburg last year and bounced out everybody, but then they lost to Louisville. So
Louisville was strong.
They could be a sleeper. Yeah, Miami was I guess they were a 4-3 seed last year, but
West Virginia's going to have to start their first starter in that game. You can't save them. You got to throw them against Miami. You got to get.
Can't save them. Oh, she don't want to be saved. Don't save her.
Yes, sir.
Oh, y'all paid for that. All right, Jason. I see some train tracks. What we got? Is that a fence?
Oh no, Kenny, hold up. That's a picket fence.
That's a picket fence. Why we got a picket fence? Backyard
I guess
baseball.
we're gonna have to see.
Oh, the bubble team results. Our last 4 in, our first 4 out. Oh, man, we were high on Pittsburgh, and we got them out.
We do. That weekend against Florida State really hurt them. I think if you go back a week before, after the series with Virginia, I think they're on the other side of this. But after that sweep against Florida State, kind of hurts them a little bit. But they still have an opportunity to get back. I think the biggest thing here, Kenny, is you have 3 power conference teams on the right. You got 3 non-power 4 conferences on the left. What do you make of that?
Well, you and I have talked about it. You said, now this was in relation to the Big 12 or Big 10. It's a Sun Belt. None of these are Sun Belt. Besides
Yeah, they are. ULF,
USL.
Louisiana.
Yeah, besides USL, are the lower 3 seeds or however. Oh, what happened? Anyway,
Oh, I know what it was. Just pull it up.
what'd you change?
Oh, I broke it.
Oh, you broke it. That's all right.
It's fine. Don't worry about it.
But yeah, we said that either those Sun Belt teams or some of these are probably better, are probably better than these maybe like 3, 4, 5 of these other conferences. And I don't think you can, especially a team like East Carolina, and UAB has played incredible this entire year. I mean, they just had some tough losses. They're not a bad team.
I think they've lost 4 in a row, so that's kind of hurt them a little bit, which is probably why a lot of people probably would look at them on the other side. But we're giving them the benefit of the doubt that they can turn it around before the end of the season.
But, I mean, you say it better than I do, that there's Sun Belt teams that are probably better than maybe the bottom mid-5 of the Big 12 or something.
Yeah, I mean, you really think about it. The 2 top teams in the Sun Belt are both going to be hosting. They're both top 11 seeds. They're both 9 and 11 right now. They're both really strong teams. And ULF just recently took 2 out of 3 against Southern Miss. So that really helps them. And they've been hot lately, and I think they could carry that into postseason. I mean, this is also a team, if you look back, they were in the top 25 at one point after a win over LSU when everybody was really high on them. And, that was an opportunity for them to say, hey, is this a team that could end up being a 2 seed or an at-large as a 2 seed? But I don't really see that. But I can see them getting hot down the stretch and continuing their rounds. And so I can see them getting in. I'll tell you what I did, Kenny. I had switched. I must have typoed and put SEC under Louisiana and then changed it to SBC. And that's all I did. But apparently it broke everything else.
Well, you have a different font on yours, so that's why it probably changed. We haven't. One of the teams earlier, I think you put SEC. I think it might have been USL.
It's fine.
Jason, I think we can kind of get close to wrapping in this. What is this fence, and why is LSU, Clemson? Those are the 2 I'm trying to figure out why they're there. And Purdue and Arkansas State.
Man,
there's no bubble.
Think about this. They're not the bubble, Kenny, but think about the other teams inside of a yard blowing some bubbles. They're blowing some bubbles. They're having a little party.
They can't go play.
Yeah, and just think of LSU, Arkansas State, Clemson, and Purdue. They're outside and they're not invited. They're sitting there trying to look through the fence. They're the teams, in my opinion, that are still sitting around. They still have an opportunity to get themselves in that bubble. But it depends on how they do down the stretch. I mean, let's be honest. LSU and Clemson, neither of these teams have had great seasons. But Arkansas State, there's our 4th Sun Belt team that could make their way in. Purdue, a team that isn't very strong in the Big Ten. They're sitting about 5th. I think they're behind Michigan at 6th. But they've had a decent season, so they'd like to have an opportunity to get in there. And so these are the teams, Kenny, where they're mathematically, to me, not out of it, but they really need this. They still have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, Clemson's unfair to. And look, we have these up here because we don't want to follow the trend. I think we have LSU up here as sort of slightly as a joke because, I mean, and at the same time, you don't know because this committee is like somewhat so it's to say LSU and SEC biased that, I mean, maybe they will. I mean, Clemson's second to last in the ACC, and it feels unfair to move them ahead of, I mean, hell, Louisville and
Clemson's going to have to have it. Clemson's going to have to show out a lot. I just think it makes sense for them to be there just due to their RPI standing. But the thing for LSU is, we talked about it the other day. Mm-hmm. You get Georgia, you get Florida, two of the strongest teams in the country. So if you can, they're going to have to find a way to win both of those series, in my opinion, to have a chance to get in. And I don't even think it's just my opinion. I think that's just a consensus. Yeah. They got to win one of those series or win one of them, get one win. If they go 3-3 in those games, then, right, you know, and they have a great time at Hoover, they have a chance. So we're coming down that stretch, Kenny, where we're going to get to the end of the regular season. We're going to have our 64. But then conference tournaments just turn everything upside down because there's always going to be somebody that steals a bid. There's always going to be somebody that gets all the way to the championship in a strong conference, and we're going to look at them and say, well, do they deserve to be in because they got hot at the right time? Mm-hmm. It's going to be fun. It's always a good time.
Especially the SEC tournament and the feral children are running around. It's a completely different atmosphere, and LSU could be the worst team in the world. And for some reason, when it gets to the Hoover, they're like, oh, world-class play.
We should try.
Jesus. Hey, Jay has found his team. Jay's found his lineup. He's just going to he's got a lot of building
Their
to
offense was really strong this past weekend.
That Arkansas State team, I think, is a great – if let's say if we're talking whoever's closest to the fence has a better chance to get into the bubble, I think Arkansas State is probably one of those – is probably that one team that has a chance to get into the bubble. They've got they have Texas State and at South Alabama. They just had series losses that they didn't need to. That's kind of really hurt them, but that's probably the only team that I think has a closest chance. But
get that slide off of there. I broke it.
Yeah. Well, conference counts.
Did I break this one too?
I think it's literally just a font.
Oh, I need to download that font so I can see it. Yeah.
But I'll say what I'm kind of proud of us for only having 12 SEC because
75% of the conference.
Yeah. 9. See, look, the Sun Belt and the American and even Conference USA, those conferences are so good, and I think to have the 3 teams doesn't do justice of how good those conferences are. It's just it's going to be crazy. You're looking at all these teams in here, and I mean, most of them have played each other. They've cross-played each other. It's going to be incredible. It's going to be a good run.
Yeah, I think the thing that stands out for me is 6 teams from the Big 12. And some people may look at that and say, well, that's too many. But, you know, the Big 12 had a really good year. And that's why we have Arizona State hosting a regional. They're a strong conference. They're a strong team in that conference. And they can continue their run. I'm with you, though. I mean, Conference USA, you think about it, Missouri State, team that hosted a regional back in 2015, I believe. Liberty, a strong team. Jacksonville State has been killing it all year. And then you also think there's Dallas Baptist in there who is having a down year for their normal.
Yeah, they had a down year.
But DBU is a team that we've all seen in supers, so we've seen them in regionals. They're always a tough team as well. I mean, Conference USA is just a strong conference. I mean, between them and the Sun Belt and the American, I'm right there with you. 3 teams from each of those is tough because these are tough conferences. So
Yeah.
especially the Sun Belt. I think the Sun Belt. I remember when they redid the region, the Sun Belt, and Coastal joined it, as well as when Marshall and those guys joined it. It was like, man, that's going to make for a great baseball conference, and it is.
They're getting Louisiana Tech next year too, so
and that's another Conference USA team that's strong.
Yeah, add another Sun Belt team. So, Jesus.
Yeah,
that's why I love the Fun Belt.
And then, could we see the Pac-12 on here next year? Could we? Could we see it back on this list?
How's that going to look?
I don't know. I can see. I don't
want them taking Big West teams away. Well, some of the Big West are going to. Well, I guess.
Are they? We're gonna have to look into that. I haven't looked too much into that. As far as non-football.
I have it up really.
So, well, Kenny's looking at that.
Nope.
We normally would have done our predictions tonight and reviewed the midweek games, but with midweeks getting everybody canceling, and as well as midweeks we're just coming down the stretch, we figured it's more likely we're better off talking about our field of 64 and having this fun of a show, and then we're still going to put out our picks. We're still going to pick our teams up and then pick our winners, so that way on Sunday's episode we can review how we did, see who won between the two of us, and kind of discuss where things sit at that point. But normally in the past we would have revealed our 16 hosts during that show, but with this episode we've been holding it out, and we'll hold it out again next week as we do this again.
Yeah, I think it's a good time to just kind of get one out, just to kind of get a feel, because again, these last 2 weeks and with these conference championships coming up, everything could change. I think everybody's still sitting on it. But yeah, I think, and look, y'all, we appreciate it for sitting and watching, hearing us ramble and rap. I guess we dropped something, but again, like, share, subscribe, leave us a comment. We want to get your feedback. Excuse me. But Jason, any final words?
I appreciate everybody. We've had a great time. This is so fun, and looking forward to continuing doing it every week and hitting more baseballs.
Yeah, I mean, imagine having to pick these conferences, these regionals for a living. I mean, it's
so tough. So
what was fun about, and before we go, I love doing the regionals because I like maps. I don't want to get tismed here, but that's what you and I were kind of going back and forth. I was like, no, it's closer to this state. But anyway.
Yeah. Yep. And just a reminder, it's very tough to pick these teams. Don't hate us. Anything could change next weekend.
All right. Well, we'll see y'all later. Let's see if I end this stream correctly. I'm just going to hit random buttons. See ya.
The 5 Arms and a Lucky Fin Podcast.